Hi everybody, it's Gemma. Welcome back to Pampered Wolf and welcome to Foundation Friday, where today I am not going to be reviewing another foundation or a tinted moisturiser for you. This is going to be more of a tips and tricks video where I'm going to be showing you an application technique that I like to call the backwards technique. For obvious reasons, it's a little bit backwards. Now, this is not a new technique by any way, shape or form. Bobbi Brown has been doing something similar for decades. This is just my spin on it. So I'm really eager to share this with you. I'm also really eager for you to try this for yourselves in your own homes using products that you probably already have in your makeup collection. So you shouldn't really have to go out and buy something new just to try this at home. So this is going to be great for anybody that maybe has had a little bit of time away from makeup during lockdown and just wants to dip their toe back in the makeup waters. This is also going to be great for anybody that maybe by the end of the day their makeup looks a little cakey, maybe it looks a little heavy, or this is going to be great for anybody that maybe thinks that their makeup doesn't look as flattering as it used to when they were younger because, you know, as your skin ages, we get a lot more problems thrown into the mix that we have to deal with. This is also going to be a great technique for anybody who wants a more skin-like natural look, but also wants that flawless complexion. The technique in general uses the less is more approach, and just because we're going to be using less product on the skin doesn't mean the skin is going to look any less flawless throughout the day. In fact, as far as I'm concerned, I think it looks more flawless and it stays looking flawless for much, much longer, because by applying less product, you are going to be preventing your foundation from sinking into those fine lines and wrinkles. You're going to be preventing any cakiness and any heavy look that really can be quite unflattering on the skin. So I definitely urge you to give this a go. So why do I want to share this technique with you? Well, there are a couple of reasons actually. The first one, I just feel like makeup application has a lot to do with habit. We apply the products that we apply to our skin in the way that we apply them because we've always done it that way. We just feel like because we did it that way in our 20s, we should be doing it that way in our 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on. And actually that's not the case. Our application techniques need to change to counteract all the problems that are thrown at us when our skin is aging. The other reason that I'd like to share this with you is because I feel like makeup application has been very foundation focused. Now, don't get me wrong, I love foundation. I focus on foundation a lot on my channel, but it is not the be all and end all, and it shouldn't always be your first port of call. Now, I previously said that as our skin ages, we get lots of issues thrown at us that we didn't have to deal with before. Things like hyperpigmentation, discoloration, redness, broken capillaries. And by applying foundation first, we seem to unconsciously expect the foundation to do the job of 10 products. By the time we've finished applying the foundation, we expect a completely perfect canvas. And by expecting it to be completely flawless after that first step, that one product, we end up applying far too much of that product and it looks heavy, cakey, it doesn't wear well throughout the day, and it doesn't look very flattering, especially on an aging skin. So this is where the backwards technique comes in. And for this to work, we need to change our way of thinking. We need to not want our skin to look absolute perfection after step one, knowing that after the makeup is completely finished, you will have that flawless look. I guarantee it. So let's get into the technique. For this technique to work, you need two different products. You need a concealer that is exactly the same color as your natural skin tone. Very, very important. And then if you are going to move on to the tinted moisturizer foundation step, that tinted moisturizer or foundation also needs to be the same color. This is really, really important. It's not really going to work if your foundation shade is a lot deeper than your natural skin tone. So if you are one of those people that likes to deepen up your skin with foundation, this technique might not work for you. So I am going to be using the Pat McGrath Labs Sublime Perfection Concealer. You don't need to use this specific concealer. I just feel like it works really well for me, and it's exactly the same shade as my skin tone, which is L5. And my first step is to conceal my under eye circles. So once I've covered my dark circles to what I feel is an acceptable level, and if you need to go in with extra product to cover over, then that is absolutely fine. I've just applied one layer of product. I'm happy with that. I'm going to move on to the second step, which is to cover over any imperfections. So that is that discoloration, hyperpigmentation, any redness that you have, any broken capillaries, any blemishes that you have on the skin. So I have a little blemish here that I want to conceal. I always have a few broken capillaries around my nose, always on the tip of my chin as well. So once I've finished step 2, I've covered over some discoloration on my eyelids, I've covered some discoloration on my chin, I've gone over a few blemishes, I've covered some broken capillaries around my nose area. I can move on to step 3, which is look in a mirror. I like to look in a mirror to examine the skin to make sure that I have covered all of the imperfections that I want covering. Now, this is really, really important to examine the skin and know what you're dealing with. And I am not talking about a magnifying mirror. The only people that should be using magnifying mirrors are those that are hard of sight, and that is the only way that they can examine their skin or apply their makeup. Anybody else, if you are not hard of sight, you need to get rid of those mirrors. They are doing nothing for your self-confidence. Nobody's skin looks good in a magnifying mirror. And if you are picking out imperfections using a magnifying mirror, believe me, you will be there until the end of time, and you will probably run out of concealer within a week. Honestly, the last time I looked in one of those mirrors, I was found in the corner of a room rocking with tears rolling down my face. Big tip for you, get rid of the magnifying mirrors. Once I've finished step 3 and I'm happy that I've covered over all the imperfections that I want covering, knowing that they don't have to be super perfect at this stage, I would consider leaving it here for base products and moving on to the other products like blush and bronzer that are going to add that extra level of coverage. If you're not comfortable with that on day 1, you can move on to step 4, which is a little bit more coverage with a tinted moisturizer or a light coverage foundation. Now, don't worry if you don't have a light coverage foundation. You can always add a few drops of moisturizer to your heavier, fuller coveraged foundation to get the same effect. The only thing you need to make sure is that your foundation or tinted moisturizer is the same shade as your skin, because we're not going to be applying a full layer. We're going to be applying it where we need it. The foundation that I'm going to be using today is the CHANTECAILLE Future Skin Cushion Skincare Foundation. You do not need to use this foundation, just use whatever you've got to hand. And I'm going to use a sponge. I do feel like a sponge is the best way for this method because a foundation brush just gives a little extra coverage, and that's what I'm trying to get out of. So I'm going to take my foundation, I'm going to apply a tiny little bit on my cheek area, a little bit on my chin, a bit down my nose, this will make me happy. Bit on my forehead where I feel I need a little bit extra. While I'm applying the foundation or tinted moisturizer, I am avoiding the areas that give me a little bit of grief throughout the day. So I'm avoiding this smile line here that foundation tends to sink into, this smile line here, any deep set or fine lines around the eye area, any fine lines around the mouth area, and any severe patchy dryness. I'm avoiding all those areas. That way, your foundation, your overall makeup look is just going to look much more flattering, much more skin-like, and also much fresher for longer throughout the day. You're not going to have any sort of cakiness because we're not applying enough product for there to be any cakiness. You're not going to have any foundation sinking into those fine lines or wrinkles. And it's just going to look super flawless and really, really fresh and skin-like. So I'm going to leave it at that. So once I've finished step 4 and I've applied my tinted moisturizer or my foundation where I need it, I'm now going to move on and apply the rest of my products. It doesn't have to look super flawless at this stage. We need to get out of the mindset that everything has to be perfect. with 1 or 2 products. Remember, like I've said plenty of times in this video, I'm sorry for repeating myself, we are going to be applying extra coverage products like bronzer, like blush on top of this, which are going to perfect the look. So I'm going to go off camera, I'm going to do the rest of my makeup, and I'll be right back. So that's it, that's the finished look. I haven't added any more foundation or concealer to my skin. The fact that everything looks more flawless now is down to an accumulation of what I did earlier, plus adding those extra coverage products on top, like the blush, like the bronzer, and also adding a bit of polish, which always helps by doing those brows, adding a lick of mascara and a lip product as well. I think we all need to get out of the habit of thinking that our skin has to look completely flawless after step 1, because step 1, which is usually foundation, is the step that can cause us the most issues as we go through the day, especially as our skin ages. So the less product we use, the more flawless our makeup's gonna look as the day goes on. So I really hope you found this video helpful, and I hope you're going to try it at home. For those of you that are wanting to shout and throw things at your screen right now saying, you're only 41, what do you know about deep lines, wrinkles, discoloration, hyperpigmentation, broken capillaries and blemishes? I hear you. I am not trying to gloss over the fact that my skin is in pretty good nick to begin with, but I just want to let you know that this is the technique that my mum has been utilizing all the way through lockdown. So this is suitable for all ages. To such an extent, my mum has had such good success with this that she hasn't been using a tinted moisturizer or a foundation. She's only been doing step 1, 2, and 3. And then going straight to blush, bronzer, mascara, and lips. She's looked amazing. So I urge you to try it regardless of age. Let me know your experiences and thoughts on this in the comment section below. Not everyone is going to like it, not everyone is going to get on with it, but if you've got a bit of time one day, give it a go. Hope to see you all in the next video, everyone. Bye.